Hello and welcome to another episode of After 5 at Jumix. This is our 21st episode, and Diana, today our episode, the topic is a little bit serious.
Yes.
So joining me today is Diana.
Hi. We are in a very special settings. I assume everyone is quite excited to know what are we going to talk about, but today it's a very alarming issue that we want to talk about here. And
Okay, so Diana, I just want to put up this to you, okay?
Yeah.
So have you ever experienced this? Like imagine you go to a concert, okay? Or maybe you go to a shopping mall, or you go to an event, and then the place is very, very crowded. And as you go past the crowd, you notice that somebody grabbed a certain body part of yours.
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced that before?
Yes.
Okay, never mind. But how about when you walk around on the street, okay? You just chilling, you're just strolling around on the street, and then you notice that somebody is actually staring at you. You know, like he keeps staring and staring, and he just won't stop about that.
Yes, it's
How do you feel
very,
about
very
that?
uncomfortable.
Okay.
Extremely. I think it's very rude as well.
Yeah. So, here's the thing. When you become a victim of such an issues, right, it's actually not considered as a crime in Malaysia.
Okay.
Right? That guy will go unpunished, and you cannot really do anything about it. Okay. So even for like a married couple, imagine today you are married and you have your husband, and at night he want to do that something with you, right? But you just don't feel like it. Maybe you are reluctant. Maybe you just feel tired, and you refuses him. But he can force sex on you, but you cannot do anything about it. You cannot sue him. You cannot go to the court and say he raped you.
Okay, let me get this straight. So does this mean if I am married and my partner actually wants to have unconsented sex with me, and I refuse it and he still forces it on me, I cannot in any way sue him?
Yes, because there is no such a law in Malaysia yet. So once you're married, then it's like an obligation.
Your body's gone.
You.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
But this scenario, it happens every single day. Okay. And we can't really press charges against these people because there's no such law in Malaysia that is, that allows you to take action against them. So, like I said just now, a stalking and marital rape is actually not a crime in Malaysia. Yeah. So then that brings us to the topic that we want to discuss about today.
Yeah. I think there's another thing that is very alarming that, like just now when you mentioned when people grab certain body parts of you in public, is not considered, a crime or anything like that. I think that's sexual harassment to me. And for my personal experience, it's when I went to a shopping mall. I was just strolling around. When you're strolling around, you're not paying attention with whoever that is around you. You are just looking at the things that you want to see. And most of the time, that particular time, I was with my family, and then a guy came very, very close to me and just langgar me, I never realized whether he touched any body parts of mine, but he just kept on coming very, very, very close to me when, it's a very big space.
Yes.
And he just came and langgar me. I cannot see his face. I don't know who is he, and it just feels very annoying.
You mean that he intentionally langgar you?
Yes. And during that time, I didn't realize what he was doing, but my dad caught it, and then he shouted at him. And then he backed off. But then during that time, I was very blurred. I don't know what to feel. So in terms of this, I'm sure this is I would say this is a very minor issue, but I'm sure there are a lot of, even more serious cases out there.
Yes.
And for this to be happening and not being considered a crime, I think it's really something very, very sad and alarming for it doesn't matter is it man or women, it's something just wrong.
Yeah, imagine this happens to your wife, to your to my sister or to my
That's
future
right.
daughter. I'm going to feel very terrible about it.
That's right.
And because we want to fight for justice, we want to bring them to court, we want to sue them, but we actually cannot do that.
Yes, most importantly, we really want to stop them from even doing this to other people, because it can happen on anyone at all. And maybe just unintentionally touching and all that, it's fine. But what if it goes further? What if it escalated to something more serious like rape, which we don't want to happen? But this could all happen from the start. This is just a very starting point of it, and it's very bad. So with all this, we need change for sure.
Yes, that's for
we
sure.
need change, and I think a lot of people are trying to make change, but not at the right approach or still not high enough of a place to really voice this out to make change. And I think in any country in the world, or I would say just Malaysia itself, when we want change to happen, we need that issue to be brought out in the parliament, or we need this to be brought up to people with the authority to change this. And in Malaysia, all I can think of are politicians or lawmakers, right? Yes. And because of how little the women representing in the parliament itself, I think it's very hard for us to voice this out, because I would say, of course, men do have this, but more of the women, majority of the women are facing this. Would you agree with me?
Yes, I do.
And that is why we need more voices from the women to be in the politics, to understand how to make this change, how to voice this out, how to find this is a complaint. Yes, this is something bad, but how to even structure something out to tell our representatives that, hey, this is a problem and we need to change it, rather than just putting on Facebook, putting out a complaint on social media or on your stories that is not reaching the right people to make change. You are just saying for the sake of saying, and this has to change.
Yes, I think a lot of people, I think they do not have the knowledge, or they are ignorant of the fact that if they just put these issues on Facebook, on social media, it doesn't really help anything like at all. Like it might backfire, that they might end up being the victim of cyberbullying. That is even worse.
That's right.
So I think we really need a proper channel, and we need to send this message to the public to raise the awareness that which is the right channel to make your complaint to, and what is the procedure and steps to make it an official complaint.
I really agree with you. Like, just on social media itself, and even for the victims that have gone through this, it's so hard for you to even speak on social media itself.
Yep.
So today, we have a very special guest.
Yes.
And she will be talking about it on how women, or even men, or just today women in general, how can we become better leaders, or even be involved in politics? Like, where should we start? And we can get a better voice there.
Okay, so who is our guest for today?
Today we have Miss Ong from PWDC, Penang Women's Development Corporation. So she'll be coming and talk about more of this. Hi, Miss Ong.
Hi, Miss Ong.
Yeah. Welcome back to
again.
our, After 5 Jumix. It was great having you the last time, and I think it's going to be better this time.
Wow,
because we have something very, very important. Like just now we did mention on how, sexual harassment, marital rape, and stalking are all not crimes in Malaysia. Like, it's not solid enough. So to be able to make change, we need something that is more powerful, and I'm sure you have the secret behind you later that you're going to share with us. Yeah, so please, maybe you could do a slight introduction for our listeners that haven't listened to our previous. If you want to listen to more about PWDC and Miss Ong, please go to episode 12.
Yes.
Wow, okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Ong Biling. I'm the CEO of PWDC, that is Penang Women's Development Corporation. Thanks to Jumix for having me again. And yes, today we are on a more serious note, about harassment and how this can be prevented.
That's right.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, I mean, it's our pleasure to have you back, because you have a very, very insightful episode, and this is something that is happening to any one of us every day, every single day, and it's good to just discuss about it and see how we can make change.
Right. Yes.
Right. So I did heard about this thing called Penang's Women Assembly 2020, and you are involved.
Yes.
PWDC is the organizer. We would love to know more about it.
Oh, okay. So the idea was also mooted because if you look at it, even in Penang, out of the 40 state assembly persons, we only have 6 who are women. So we are saying that we only have 15% state assembly, women's state assembly, representing 50% of the population. Because women, they are 50%. So that means you are looking at not really a fair representation of women inside the state assembly. And we say that state assembly is most important because this is where state rules, state regulations, state policies are made. So whether you can have program, but then if the law or the policies are not pro to the man and the woman, then you still find a lot of gaps and all that which are not addressed. Yeah. So this is why we say that, is it true? Now, so the question came out was, is it true that women are not interested in politics? Because that was the typical answer. Politics women are not interested in yeah. I mean, that's a typical answer, right? Not knowing that in politics, that's where you can make a lot of changes. Okay. So we mooted the idea with our EXCO for social development. That's YB Chong Eng, YB Kasturi, YB Lim Siu Kim, and YB Shalina. So all of this came together, and also the team of advisors to moot out this idea. How do we want to set a platform or a stage for women to come up, and we want to see whether betul women are not interested in politics. That's why we mooted this idea and we ran from there.
I see. Wow. So how was this, how can we participate, or who can participate in this way?
Okay, good question, Diane. So basically, the first contact that we have in mind is actually those in the JPWK. This is the Jawatan Kuasa Pembangunan Wanita dan Keluarga. These are community leaders. And then also the MPKK, which is the Majlis Pengurusan Community Kampung. So we have this community groups, which is appointed by the state at the ground, at community, at the taman and all that. So we invited them. So we invited 2,445 people, to come. These are just women only. So already have women of 2,000 over at the ground already. So we invited them. And then we publish in our social media and all that to invite the public also. So we even have people coming from the corporate world, from private and all that. So it was a very diverse group of people who came and say that, they're interested.
Is there like a minimum requirement to join this?
Seriously, so long as they are age of, I think we put it like
21.
18 and above.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But those finalists, the youngest was 21.
Oh, wow.
So we actually have people, girls, 21 and above, who were with us until the final stage.
Okay, but how does the you did mention final stage, but how was the starting stage, or how did the whole process? Because now I think of final stage. What is the final stage?
So it was very exciting because after we sent out the letter, then we realized that people need to know what it is, because it's such a new program.
Yes.
And people may be asking, hey, do I do this? Do I do that? And things like that. So what happened is that we went to the ground. We went to every district. So Penang got 5 districts, right? So we have Timor Laut, Barat Daya, Seberang Perak Utara, Tengah, and also Selatan. We went to each and every of the district to give a briefing about what this program is about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So during that briefing, we have 400. So out of the 2,000 over that we invited and opened to the public, we have more than 400 who came to this briefing. So that's first level of filtering, right? So during that briefing, we also have them to talk about themselves. So from there, we assess whether got potential or not. So from that, we invited close to 100 people for phase 2. So phase 1 was like briefing. Phase 2 was we actually did a 2 days workshop.
Right. To understand more about.
So 2 days was quite very intense. So we had the what do you call that? The elected rep who are members of parliament, who are senators, who are state assembly women, to come and share what's the role of what do you call that? Elected rep or an appointed rep. What do they do? Do they just take care of drain? Or do they take care of, let's say the tree?
That's right. We really have no idea. This is a very good. What do they do?
That's right. So actually, then they say, actually the job of all this about the drain, the trees and all that is supposed to be under the purview of the local authority. That is the MBPP and MBSP.
Okay.
Yeah. However, if you're talking about just now what you mentioned about sexual harassment or rape and all that, of course, rape is under penal code, but then sexual harassment, it is something that you need a law.
Yeah.
You need a law so
That's
that,
right.
if you can charge the person in court and all that. So currently the law is not comprehensive enough. And that's why you need a law to be able to look into all this issue and how to address the issue and whether there is penalty or not. What are the charges? So this is where the parliament, because this one involves the federal, so the parliament or the member of parliament are the one who want write all these laws.
Oh, so they have the power to change it and to add a new law. Okay.
Yes, precisely.
So right now there is this penal code section 354 and 509. So it's just a penal code. It cannot protect you in any way if you fall victim into sexual harassment.
So you see the way it was described and all that, sometimes is make it very vague.
Yeah.
So it's vague. It's sometimes then to bring it to court and all that, then there'll be issue because it's not clear enough.
Right.
And other things like somebody touching you or somebody groping you or something like that. How do you charge the person?
That's right. How would you, what's the evidence?
Yeah, that's it. So we really need law to be comprehensive enough to protect and make, allow the victim to press charges. Otherwise, it's like, you have but it's not easy
That's
to
right.
prove it and all that. So that's why we said, you see, the reason that we brought this up is because most of the time the issue is faced by women.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not saying that sexual harassment doesn't happen on men, okay? But the percentage is probably lower. Most of the time, because of the power play, the power dynamics, the boss do it on the subordinate. Yeah. And or even sometimes between peers, the men feel they are more dominating, feel more powerful, then they also do it on their colleagues. Okay. So most of the time victims are women. And that's why we say we need more women to bring this issue up because the experience is by them. Then they know how it feels. It is not easy for a victim of sexual harassment or, any of these cases, violence and all that, to really come out and talk about it.
That's right. I mean, I personally have a few friends that have gone through, such things, and it's really a very agonizing situation for them to go through, and even to voice this out to someone, and voicing this out to a man during that time when they are so vulnerable, especially after being sexual harassed by a man, it's even harder.
Yeah.
But when it comes to this, who can they go to, and how is it that we women have to, maybe create a safe community for them to share? Would you say so, or is PWDC doing something for victims to come out and voice out?
Okay, good question. So we see all this happening, and what the state now is doing. So at the state level, what can they do? Because one is at the federal level. Federal level is where laws are made and all that too. But at the state level, so like state, they've come up with a policy called the Safe Family Policy. So in this Safe Family Policy, as you say, sometimes victims say, got NGO take care of it and all that. But they may or may not be able to know how to contact these NGOs. In fact, in Penang, we are quite lucky because we have a few NGOs who are around to support the victims. So what the state found is that sometimes it's not easy to get to them. So with this new policy, they are going to set up counters, at all the pejabat daerah. This is the district office lah. So you have a few district office all over Penang. We are going to set up counters at the MBPP, MBSP. We are going to set up counters at the Pusat Khidmat or the service center of all the ADUN, which is the state exemplary person. So that if you're a victim or you know somebody who's a victim, you can quickly bring this person, or you can go say, I have been abused or something like that, or I have domestic violence. So what we do, the state is doing is also to set up this support point.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that means I can go quickly. They say if you're in Balik Pulau, you don't have to come to town. You can just go to Balik Pulau district office and say, I need help. So we really urge, if you're a victim or friends or even relatives of victim, go to these points so you don't have to come over. So this is what the state can do. You see, the state can do. And why is it that this came out? You find that if you go back to the originator, you find it's a woman who do it.
Yeah, that is why women has to be more involved in how to reach the right person to make change happen.
Yeah, because I think commonly when women suffer in this kind of situation, the first point they might go to is the police station. And because there is no such law, I mean, it's just a penal code that is protecting us, but there's in the gray area. That is why we really need to set up these points before this actually get brought up to the federal level.
Yes, to the police, even sometimes to hospitals and all that, because they need to be checked and all that. So we are hoping that it is more friendly, because seriously, sometimes victim, they don't straight away go and to even police because of the phobia, because of the shame, because they say, oh, why, they feel that it's their fault and that's bad. Because let's say, rape victims, they say, oh, this is my fault. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. I shouldn't be wearing this. I shouldn't be walking at night, this and that. So the guilt takes over them. And they don't step out. So, but we really hope that victims do step out. I know we know it's not easy. It is already a trauma going through the experience.
That's right.
But importantly is that they have to overcome that. I mean, definitely for us, it's easier said than done. But if we have people who are able to support the victim and say, I'll take you through with this, take through with you in this journey or whatever, I think then the victim will feel more bolder to do and take action. Because seriously, it is not. So sometimes maybe women is able to be more empathetic. I'm not to say men are not empathetic, but then there could be certain level of empathetic, and that's why we say, oh, if this is happening, what can we do? And definitely we also see that in Penang, we also see more and more men are supportive in this.
That's right.
In this, science is of course.
That's right. It's good. It's good to see that. Honestly, at least men are more open to listening of all of these things right now. I think social media did change a little, but the real change still don't happen on social media. That's the thing.
That is why we need the Women's Assembly.
That's
that is
right.
the right platform and an important platform for us to really change this.
So after the 100 people that we did, so we had all this, what's the role and responsibility of a state assembly, of a member of parliament, and even in the Day One Rakyat and all that. So after that, we also did role play. Role play.
Oh, okay.
Role play
As
about
you
what's the
really
debate.
do the whole thing.
Not that yet. Just to know whether are they able to debate, because you go to all this assembly and all that. I'm not saying that you have a turntable. But you have to, be assertive, really speak your point and all that. So we actually do through debate. We even took them to, give them scenarios and they act it out.
Oh, okay.
So we have debate, we have role play. And then the next day, second day, we had 9 assembly persons to take them on rounds.
To the real assembly itself.
No, this one because state assembly people also need to go to their rounds to talk to their constituency. To the constituents, to talk to the people. So they took them to the market. Walk around, talk to people. So for our participants to also realize that yes, you also make laws, you make policy, but also you must be connected to the people, because you need to know what are the issues at the ground, and also to hear it from them. It's not after masa election only. Campaign. So they actually got that bit of experience also. And then in the afternoon, we did more sharing. And the topic which came out is actually on sexual harassment.
Oh, okay. So you must have like a very good idea of how many people out there are still not being heard.
Sexual harassment, even so in social media, I think you all also observe that it's happening. Right?
But how is it that you consider sexual harassment happening on social media?
Even the simple thing like you post up a photo, then some guy say, "Wow, you look very sexy. I like your breasts."
Like those comments.
I like
words.
how is it the shape of this, the shape of that. this is already harassment.
And it's really very important for us to be mindful of what we see on social media and know what social media can do to victims and also make someone become a victim.
Yeah, that's right.
So
that's
like, I think on social media, both of us, me and Sans, we are more frequent on social media, I would say. And there are actually a few things that we can do on social media, which is the easiest way is to report. This thing I have to say right now, because anyone, even if you are seeing someone else commenting something on social media that is bad or you think is sexual harassment, just report it and block that person out.
Yeah.
Because they have to know. And on social media, we can't expect Instagram, Facebook to go through all our comments. It's impossible to do that.
Yeah.
So if you as a reader, you think that something is not right, just do a report.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And hopefully after the Women's Assembly and so on, we might have a law that actually governs the social media as well.
Hopefully,
It
yeah.
covers
But
both offline and
this
online.
one is very,
Yeah.
but who knows? If we really come in and have a voice and be, participants of the Women's Assembly and understand how it all works, it might happen.
Yeah. So this is also one way is to sanction these people. Another way is you have that the group, a big wave of people come and condemn such remarks.
Right.
I think that's also helpful to say that, hey, the society don't accept this type of remark. We don't appreciate this type of remark. So it's then a action, because sometimes people do it purposely, but sometimes it can be an unconscious bias.
That's
It's
right.
Unconsciously, okay, I say that you are sexy. I mean, things like that. But we always say sexual harassment always go back to the victim. Okay, some people, if you're friend, hey, today you look sexy. I think it may be okay, right? It may be okay. But let's say if it's somebody else to say to you, you don't feel comfortable, then what you can do is actually to tell the person, hey, I don't like what you say. You must say straight, straight to the face. Hey, I don't appreciate that. I don't like what you're saying. Okay, please stop. So that signal must be given, because sometimes the person who said may knowingly or unknowingly say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think not only do we must have this kind of law but educating them and
That's right,
raising
I was about to
awareness
say.
among the women is very important as well.
Yeah.
Because if we can prevent that, then we do not really need that law. But if everyone is able to prevent this kind of thing from happening, then I guess that is the best case scenario. Yeah.
But right now I'm like thinking in my head, the whole Women's Assembly will work like everyone is sitting together and they are voicing out things that need change.
Right.
But when they're voicing out, they need to speak in Bahasa.
Yes. So just going back on the law, yes, awareness is important, but always must have a law. Because otherwise there's nowhere that you can protect or you can take action or you can charge the perpetrator.
Yes.
So that is something that we need to have, having the law and also the awareness.
Yes.
It must run
Both.
concurrently.
Yep.
Yeah. Going back to the sidang. Yeah. So after the 100 people that we have gone through the 2 days, so from the assessment, we shortlisted again, shortlisted to 40.
Oh.
Okay.
40. So
Okay.
because Penang got 40 constituencies, so
Okay.
each of them represent one constituency. So let's say if I'm Tolok Air Tawar, so I must go and find out lah.
Oh.
What Tolok Air Tawar is, what's the issue, or is there anything that I want to bring up from Tolok Air Tawar, or is there a state issue that I want to bring up? So it really is mooting what a real state assembly is. So if I have Padang Kota, if I'm taking Padang Kota, there's a CM's constituency.
Yeah.
Then the person is a CM lah.
Oh.
I
Yeah.
see.
So you have CM, you have the Deputy Chief Minister,
Yeah.
Deputy Chief. So the whole EXCO is there also.
I see. So you get to go through the whole thing.
Process.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And it's in Bahasa. Correct.
Okay. So if I were to participate and my Bahasa is really I don't know lah. then how could I even participate in that way? Is it possible for me to still participate?
To a certain extent, it is, because that is the language, the official language being used even in the Dewan Negeri and also the Dewan Rakyat and also the Dewan Negara. So basically, that is a bahasa. You should have some fair command of bahasa.
Right.
Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult to articulate your ideas.
That's right.
But along the way, suddenly you want to say, kita kena buat apa yang kita kata. So then you say, dengan izin, walk the talk. Some words and all that is still okay. Then just dengan izin with the permission, then say in English.
I see.
And some even say in Mandarin.
Okay.
But it cannot be the whole text and all that. Sometimes certain words,
Okay.
So in terms of debating and all that, right? Do they go through like a certain learning process in the Women's Assembly itself, or they really have to have it in them that they know a debating skill or public speaking skill to be able to be involved in this Women's Assembly?
I think one is because the State Assembly actually does have a recording, it's already archived. So we actually suggest to them, so once they're selected, please go and see how the State Assembly is done.
Okay.
Yeah. Then we also share with them, because actually all these are public document. Whatever is discussed in the State Assembly, we can actually go to the dun.gov.my, to find out what has transpired during the State Assembly. It's a public document. So we also encourage them to go to see what we mean by soalan lisan, what we mean by soalan bertulis, how do you, what is a teks perbahasan, what is a penggolongan. So there is a process.
Right. So I'm sure like going through the whole Women's Assembly, PWDC or anyone that is involved that has experience will actually also teach and educate people who are interested to know better. Because like what you mentioned, I seriously have no idea. To be honest, so I think it has to go
Do you
through.
know about this State Assembly, how the proceeding is?
Not really.
Not really.
So for us,
young people, we need more young people.
Yes, we need to raise this awareness to the public.
We really need more young people, because the future is yours. So if you don't come in now, how do you expect your future to be better?
Yes.
Yeah, that's why we need voices of the young. And we are so glad that there are young people who are among us. And in fact, we missed out one college student. She couldn't make it on that day because she has an exam.
Oh no.
If not, that the age could be lower than 21.
Oh wow, 18?
Slightly more lah.
Okay, that's still good numbers. Like in terms of the youth, how many % is involved in this Women's Assembly right now?
Not many. Actually, we wanted it to be more, but then I guess the outreach and all that, and people are not really aware. In fact, Penang also through PWDC, they run a program called Sidang Muda. So this is a youth assembly. So youth can actually have both options to come to Sidang Wanita or the Sidang Muda. But if you are women, then we say come and hear from the Sidang Wanita, because then certain issues that you want to bring up can be brought up, in the Sidang Wanita.
Right. So this Women's Assembly actually was over 2 weeks ago, right? Around 2 weeks ago. So is there anything coming up next? Future plans?
Okay. So what happened was that after, in fact, when they were selected, we formed a group. Okay. So you'll be amazed at some of the discussion that went on in the group itself. They are more aware or more in tune with what are the issues surrounding them now. And they're also more aware that we do not allow, even in the State Assembly or even in the Dewan Rakyat, that sexist remark, racist remark is actually a no-no. So this awareness must come upon, and we see that they're more sensitive now, and they bring it up. They say this is no. They also bring up, in fact, when they represent all the constituency, they bring up different various issues about infrastructure, about building, about the facilities and all that. It's not just about women's issue only. So, but then it also shows that they are very in tune about the current issues. So when they represent each of the constituency, we actually assign them because we don't want everybody to ask one exco. This exco sibuk lah. So we actually assign them to different excos, different portfolios. So we covered all excos, in terms of the questions they ask. So you can imagine the diverse issues that was brought out. But there were some took it back to women. They say, let's say if it's a taman or a recreation park and all that, do you look into this? So it's really like we have the State Assembly people asking the EXCO, because EXCO is the government. So asking the EXCO, what are you doing for this? And better still was they actually even gave suggestion on what to do.
That's right. I think like the suggestion part is very important. Every time people just complain, condemn.
Correct.
But
What to do next,
What to do next?
Yeah.
It's really important for us to voice out proper and the right approach of a complaint or a feedback, rather than just ini tak boleh punya lah, all this kind of thing. It's really not helpful. Exactly. It's very bad. And for youth or even everyone to understand how to make a proper complaint and give feedback properly and then come in with suggestions and solutions is very important for EXCO as well, because they cannot seorang, they have to think everything. And they don't know what is happening. It didn't happen to them.
Right.
So I think it's very good for us to give a few suggestions instead. Yeah. And this Women's Assembly, like just now you did mention, only 40 of them will be shortlisted.
Yeah. So finally, 40 of them, because they represent each of the constituencies. We will actually I would like to say thank you to our Speaker of the House. Okay. The speaker, the real speaker who presides, who chairs the State Assembly, he came and preside our Sidang Wanita.
Wow, so he was in the
YB Datuk Law Chu Kiang. Very, very supportive, and also his deputy. So they presided the whole day, Betul-betul punya.
So really, it's a real. It is almost like a real life experience.
It is. Yeah. So we took over the place after the real State Assembly. Okay. So State Assembly finished on Monday. We took over on Tuesday. So everything is exactly the same.
Like the same people, the same venue, the same location, is simulate the actual situation.
Correct.
I think that's
And the best part, of course, the chair is also him. So he is really, really supportive.
Right. So for that 40 people that actually participate, what was their response in the end? I'm sure it's good, but what exactly is their response going through that?
To some, they say that it's just an eye opener for them. Because they always think that State Assembly is so high, and most of them don't even know how a State Assembly works and what are the issues that you bring up. So it is really creating that, not just the awareness, but the real understanding, because they are the one having to draft questions. They have to go and debate, put up their own debate text and all that. So they did a lot of research themselves, So I really think that that's why we call them Wanita Hebat. They're really, really fantastic group of people. That also gives to prove to us that when you say, just now when we started, saying, women don't like politics, things like that. Actually proven the point that if women are given the platform, the opportunity to be able to come up, in this type of stage, they actually will do. Yeah. In fact, they were so passionate and asked, what's next? So yes. So we are actually we're thinking of doing some development program for them. And also, it is also important because in politics, you cannot run away from joining parties. Political parties and all that. So it is also a way to showcase, to even the parties and all that. You actually have women out there. Yeah. And of course, our Chief Minister was really impressed. Because he said, wow, I thought you're going to bring me 1 or 2 people. You bring me 40 women.
Wow. Yeah.
So that was really cool. I mean, our CM is very, very supportive. Very.
Is it going to happen again?
Yeah. So CM already, of course, our speaker said, yes, you have to do it yearly. CM said, yes, you have to do it yearly. Yes, so we're going to do it yearly.
That's good. That's good. So next, we are going to hope next year it's going to happen again. Even with COVID happening, everything still went well.
Yes, it did. Just that so it was like more of a closed invitation. That means we only decide who to invite and all that because of the venue and also because of the physical distancing. Yeah. Other than that, it ran as usual. Even the equipment itself, the AV was exactly like Dun.
Wow.
So that means when there's somebody speaking, the camera will zoom to this particular person, and then from where, Kawasan which one.
So they can really feel it just like the real situation.
Exactly like
maybe you should do it in the office, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, to train you, we can all try something like a debate. Yeah. Okay, in terms of this, I'm sure your actual motive is actually want to understand is women interested in politics. But other than that, I think there is a vision that we are trying to achieve for Penang, because this Women's Assembly 2020 is only in Penang right now. It's only in Penang. And why is it for PWDC to actually do this other than the politics part? Because I think there are a few gaps that you want to close, right?
Yeah, true. So if you look at, when you talk about gender equality, there are 4 parameters that we measure, right? So one is on health, one is on education. So to be frank, out of the 4, 2, we are already at parity. That means health and education, the boys and girls, the men and women have roughly the same opportunity to seek treatment or to go through to higher education and all that. We are roughly parity already. The big gap is actually in politics. Okay. In fact, if you look into the world, Malaysian is actually ranked probably the low quartile, in politics.
Yeah.
Because even in parliament, we only have 14.9%, 14.9. So out to represent another 50% of the population again. So we are actually very low in terms of political representation. The other one is actually on economy. We are still having a gap in economy in terms of labor force participation and even earning income and all that. There is still a gap, and also the wage gap. There's some studies done to say that for the same job, women typically earn 20% lower than men for the same job.
So, I mean, sorry, I have like a question for Sans, like, since he's an employer, and I'm just very, very curious on how and why, it's important for you to see women and men getting the same pay. Because you're an employer, you will have to think of all this. Can I listen from your point of view in terms of women and men, why you think there should be a equal pay wage there?
Yeah, I think we slightly covered that back in our episode 12. Because to me, I don't think gender should be a obstacle or anything that can judge a person's ability or skills to do a job. So to me, it should be fair. It should be according to your experience, your ability to deliver the work, and it shouldn't be judged based on your gender. So to me, as an employer, I will try my best to make it equal, make it fair, make it inclusive for either the male or the female. So I will encourage all the employers out there to don't make gender the factor that you decide the salary for them. We should give equal opportunity and equal chances to all the genders.
I think everyone should somewhat
should be lucky.
yeah. I think it's really something very important, because I have a few questions, people saying that, okay, imagine you're our boss. And then that women has to go through, sometimes they have to go through what is the leave that they take after
maternity
leave? Maternity leave. They will take at least 2 months off. Okay, as a boss, you would think 2 months off, someone had to pay you 2 months of salary. How would you see, that's why I think this is one of the reasons on why before that the pay was different. I would think that it might be one of the issues.
I think for a male employer about the maternity leave, what they should think about is you are also, your mom gave birth to you and she has to go through the same process. So just think of it as, what if this happens to your mom? You want her to rest as well, right? So why should you not treat your employee the same way? You shouldn't be focusing on, I'm paying the money to this girl and so on. You should be focusing on what she has to go through in this process. Just be empathy.
So we need more, more bosses like that who understand
which is also
this.
important as an employer. The understanding that yes, you are taking care of the organization, but also you must have a bigger perspective about the society.
Yes.
Okay, just imagine if women stop procreating, stop giving birth, and say, yes, I want to focus on my career. Okay, in the future, when we age and all that, we find that there's no more younger generation.
Humans will extinct.
There's no more children and all that. Exactly. So that would be in a even worse situation.
Yes.
So sometimes that's why we urge employers to look from a bigger perspective. And if the employee, whether is it a male or female, is a very good employee, of course you want to do every way to retain the person, right? Because
right.
it's not easy to do hiring, okay, of good people.
Yes,
Yeah. So, in fact, it's not just 2 months. We encourage people to give 3 months.
Oh, okay. Boss, you know.
少到啦。Yeah.
Okay, so like back to the vision, there is a vision that like just now you did cover the 4
Right.
things in gender that we want to close,
Right.
and 2 we are in imparity,
Right.
and the 2 more is economy and politics.
Yep.
So there's this vision for Penang itself, and why you guys are working so hard to close this thing and reach that vision. What is it about?
Okay. I think importantly is that sometimes when you even look at the employment and all that, and even labor force participation rate, we always say that, you see, men is already at 80.8%. That means out of 100 men, 80.8% of them are already working. But the women, we only have 55.8%. Okay. So what saying that, you see, because 80.8, that means you only have around 20%. But this 20% includes students lah. Include people who are unemployed and all that. So we already sort of maximize or optimize what we have from the men. But if it's women we only at 55.8. So that means if I want to even reach to another 80%, I have a huge potential to develop women to be able to contribute to the economy of Malaysia. So that's why we say, if we have this potential, why not? Develop them and, able then to give it back to us also, rather than leaving it there.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, I think we did from episode 12, we did cover a vision in Penang that we all have to work hard to cover. And today, I think it's a bit, people might thinking why today we cover such a serious topic, because usually we are more towards things that are more lighthearted and all that. But today, like sexual harassment and all that is something that even after 5 you listen and it's so like, ayo, that kind of feeling,
Scary, right?
yeah. So today we really want to have PWDC and Miss Ong here is because we want to help the vision in Penang as well, to close this and to reach this vision. I mean, now it's 2020, we have 10 years to go, although it is 10 years, but it really needs a lot of people, not like, maybe 2019 already, then only 2029 only we try to work hard for it, because it has to start consistently growing,
Right.
So, I think today we are trying to do this small little change, and next time we will do a bigger change.
Yeah.
And
I think the change will need to come from all of us, and we cannot just rely on the politician will do the vision and they have to achieve that. We have to start from us, start from every one of us. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so Sans, when you going
we are
to
doing this.
we are starting.
True.
We are starting.
this,
Yeah.
It has to start from I.
Yeah.
That's why the I must make the change. Okay,
right.
rather than shouting for somebody to make the change.
Yes.
Because you always say, we have what we call the circle of concern, which is the bigger one, but the circle of influence, the I, actually the circle of influence. What can I influence? What change can I influence? Start from there. Because concern, you got COVID lah, economy is bad lah, business is running down. You can worry until don't know how, but nothing changed.
Yeah.
But
Very
let's say if
wise
it's
words.
I say, okay, I see that I can do this.
Yes.
Okay, go and do it. Because
Yeah.
you can control what you want to do.
Yes, a small
Yeah.
change
So
from
start.
every single person is going to contribute to a big change.
Precisely.
That's right.
precisely.
Especially right now when we are going through such a difficult situation, I think it's very important to be more mindful. And those are really wise words from both of you that I think our listeners should listen to, because it's different in KL, it's different in Penang, it's different in so many places in Malaysia, and the numbers
Yeah.
are still growing.
Yep.
I'm sure everyone is still very worried, but start from I, like
Yes.
what Miss Ong has said. So today, I think we had a very, very interesting and another insightful episode with PWDC and Miss Ong. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You have listened.
I think before we end this, we need to tell the public, for those who are interested to join the Women Assembly, how can they do it?
Oh, okay. We will probably do the publicity next year. Most probably in Q2 of next year. So we learn from what we did. This year was with COVID and all that. So everything was very compressed.
Yeah.
So we hope to get out the campaign much earlier. Okay, this program to be rolled out much earlier. So just go to our Facebook, PWDC, and watch it from there. Okay, we'll publicize when we're calling for people to come in and join us. Yeah, and we really, really appreciate and we definitely encourage diversity. Diversity in terms of whether the age, ethnicity, and even different social economic background. Yeah. So in fact, for this group, we are really, really pleased because we see very diverse group of people coming in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So please do come, and if you have the opportunity, you actually learn that politics is so important.
Yes.
Because it's not changing your own life, but it's changing the life of the people around.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
yeah. I mean, that's a very good sum of what we talked about and how important is it to, get involved and make change.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for listening. If you like this episode, please go to our Facebook, Instagram. Please go to PWDC as well. Like
Yes.
you can find them on, I think, Facebook and Instagram.
Yes.
Same goes to Jumix. We are actually almost everywhere. So you can go to jumix.com.my, our website, or you can type the same thing on our Facebook, Instagram, Spotify,
Apple Podcasts,
YouTube, Apple Podcasts.
Just do the Google search. And you'll find us.
and you'll see us. Yeah. Okay. So thank you so much
Thank
again.
you so much, Ms. Ong.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And stay safe. We are signing out.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.